Thank you for choosing PFP-Sketch as your drafting program. I'd like to just walk through the toolbar today and also the user interface. We'll get to that next, but first of all, the toolbar here. We have the first two icons are going to be the ones you use to pull up a job in order to model it here in SketchUp. I primarily use the recent jobs icon simply because if a job has been changed, modified, however, in the pricing program, it's going to be at the top of the list and possibly the one I need to draft. The third icon then is grayed out. That's for future development, sending the model over to layout and so on. Of course, then we have the login icon and the credentials icon. You can edit your credentials with the fifth icon there, and then any options that you want to edit with the sixth one, and then the last icon has to do with the repaint tool. In this video we'll be looking primarily at I shouldn't say primarily, even at recent jobs. That's just the one I'm going to use once, and then we'll also be looking at the repaint tool. Now, if your toolbar is down here in your modeling space, you can left click and drag it up. I actually prefer to have mine docked up in the toolbar area rather than down in here. For whatever reason, you may want to have it down here, and that's fine. You can model with it either place. It just may get in the way of what you want to see. So I'm going to click on the recent jobs icon, and you'll see we have a new button here for a new job that's neither sent out as a proposal nor is it a contract. It's just starting with a base building. We can get into that a little bit. Here we have a contract number on this building, and then these do not have contracts, so that's obviously a proposal, but we could still model that job. Now, I don't want to choose any of those. I want to model a job that was sold previously, so I will type in the contract number here and it shows up automatically down here. But if nothing's coming up in a list down towards the bottom here, what you can do is hit tab enter. That'll be the same as clicking on this search older jobs, and that would then pull up this contract for you. I'll click down here and the model job user interface will come up, and it looks a little different than it used to. Doesn't have the header at the top and so on. We also have three tabs here, one for the description, basically what reads out on your contract if it's already a contract. We also have a colors tab, so the colors can be modified right inside of the user interface here. And then we have details, building details. In this tab we do have a little different format again. We have icons off to the left hand side. If it's blue, it is able to be modeled. So if I'm in the description tab here, I could click model building. It would be the same as clicking on this blue icon here, just for getting the building in. So I'm going to click on that icon. You see it turned to a red X. What we can do with that, so the building populated there, but I can click the red X and it goes away. Now I can just start all over. Sometimes you may want to do that. What does come in handy is when you have if you were to come down and take a entry door and place it on here, and you put that in the wall, and then you say, oh, that's the wrong wall, I didn't want it in that wall. Now you, rather than just starting all over, we can hit the red X and it's gone. We can put it back in. Now this contract specifies that there is no overhang on this wall right here, so I would assume that that's where the lean-to is going to go. I'll click on that icon, you see it turn teal. I'm going to hover over this wall and you see the red outline at the bottom. I'll click anywhere on the wall and I get this pop-up and asking me to set the distance along the wall to the origin. I think we're all familiar with the origin being where the red, green, and blue axes come together right here. I want that to be at 0, so I can click OK. And now I get a pop-up for modifying that lean-to. That may need to be covered in another video if you're unsure how to do that, but these are read-only, so you can go ahead and make any changes. It's not going to change the contract. Any modifications you make in this user interface. Now you say, where did all the other components go? You could either scroll down using this scroll wheel, looks like the middle wheel on your mouse will do it, or you could hit this negative arrow here and it collapses that. And again, now we would be used to, with the previous version of PFP-Sketch, where there would be a component on your mouse already, but that's not the case. Now I can choose any of these components in any order that I want to and place it on this building. So I'm going to go ahead and click on that icon. Again, it's teal. I'll go to the wall I want to drop it on. I get the pop-up and I want it set at 2 feet, so I'm going to hit enter and it will come right down there to 2 feet from the point of origin. Now I want to put an entry door, 9-light entry door on this wall. Again, I just click and I'm going to set this at 8'3". Now, maybe just a little clarification. SketchUp understands a number to mean whatever you set your default. I believe it comes default as inches. You could set that default to whatever you want it to. But if I want it to be 8'3", I go 8'3", and then I can hit enter and it puts it at exactly 8'3" from the point of origin. Now if I orbit around to this side, choose another overhead door, I'm going to again set that at 2 foot, so I'll just hit enter and it'll model in there. And I'll put an entry door over on this wall and I'm going to set that at 2 foot again. Just hit enter. Oh wait, that's not the wall I wanted it on, so I'll click the red X and orbit back here, click the icon again, pull it in, and now I'm going to go with 24'8". Whatever number you would like that to be set at, you can do that. Fact is, if you wanted to go with 2 feet, you could just do 24, and that's 24 inches, and then hit enter. So that primarily covers what we've got going on with the user interface. Now, another feature that has been added with this, again, is add a feature. If I click on these 3 bars right here, I can add a cupola. If I go to a 3-foot cupola, you see that automatically populated in there. And it just defaults to, let's see, yes, it has defaulted to the colors that are on the building. The roof matches the roof, the sides here match the siding. So you can look down through any of these options can be added to your building. Now, one thing I might mention, let's go ahead and put in a window. If I were to put in this window, and I would want to go a 16'6", hit enter. The any component that is a window will default to this top being set even with your entry doors. That can be changed. I can go in here and go with 12 feet to the top of the component, and it will set it as that. But by default, it sets it at the top of your entry doors. That is not true, though, for framed openings. If I were to go to a window framed opening and put it right there, I'll hit enter, and that's where it's going to stay, that same height. Now I can come in here down at the bottom of the user interface. We have modify component, and that brings up the component options. So I could change that to 3 feet by 4 feet and hit enter, and it changes accordingly. Now with the framed openings, that does not default to inches. If I would go if I would be thinking 36 inches for 3 feet and 48 inches, and I don't type in the apostrophe, if I hit tab, you see the apostrophe shows up. So this component is thinking that means feet. That is off of SketchUp standard, but that with PFP-Sketch, that is only with framed openings that it goes to feet instead of inches. So that covers the basics of the user interface and the toolbar. Now I guess one thing we ought to cover as well, though, is the colors versus the colors tab in the user interface versus the repaint tool. The colors tab is very useful, more handy when you are initially drafting a building. The repaint tool is better if the building has been saved, sent to layout, saved, and so on, and then you need to change a color later on. Then you would come over here, choose the repaint tool icon, and again you could pick a brand, go to a different color, and again you have all of these regions that you could set to a different color, and then click repaint areas, and that changes on the building here. If for whatever reason the customer wanted a specific wall to be different than the rest of the walls on the building, you can use the repaint tool for that, where you would double click to get into the grouping there, into the geometry, and go with, let's do all steel red, and then I would come to this button for repaint geometry selected in SketchUp, and I get that color just on that wall rather than all of the walls.